If you're a man over 60, please stop whatever you're doing and listen closely, because what I'm about to share could explain why your erections have grown weaker, less reliable, or have disappeared entirely overnight. This isn't about aging. It's not just about hormones. It's about a hidden habit you're likely doing every single morning without knowing it's slowly shutting down your body's ability to perform. As a men's health doctor, I'm shocked by how many seniors I see, strong, capable men, suffering needlessly, not from disease, but from daily routines that quietly damage their sexual function. And the most alarming part? These habits don't feel harmful. In fact, many of them are things we were told were healthy. I'm Dr. Mohit Khera, and I've spent over 30 years helping men just like you, men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, restore their energy, their blood flow, their confidence, and their erections without drugs, without shame, and without giving up. But to do that, we have to tell the truth about what's holding you back. Because the real reason your body isn't responding the way it used to has nothing to do with your age, and everything to do with what happens in the first 30 minutes of your day. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 7 silent morning habits that sabotage your erection strength overnight, and I'll show you exactly what to do instead. So stay with me, because the last one might just change everything. Before we dive into these 7 habits that could be silently damaging your erection health, take a moment to subscribe and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss another tip designed specifically for men over 60. And if this message resonates with you, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Your feedback helps me create content that truly serves your needs. All right, let's get started. The very first habit that's quietly sabotaging your erections might sound simple, but it has a powerful impact on your blood flow, your energy, and your morning performance. And the worst part? Most men skip it without a second thought. Let's talk about what happens when you wake up and don't drink water. Habit number 1, skipping water. First thing, the hydration mistake that chokes your blood flow. I can't tell you how many men I've spoken with, good men in their 60s and 70s, who tell me their mornings feel slow, foggy, and weak down there. And when I ask about their first habit after waking up, they almost always skip over the one thing their body is desperately asking for: water. You see, when you wake up in the morning, your body is already dehydrated. It's gone 6 to 8 hours without fluid, and your blood has thickened. Your heart has to work harder to push that blood through stiffening arteries. And the most fragile, sensitive blood vessels, the ones that lead to your penis, they're the first to suffer. What most men don't realize is that even mild dehydration reduces blood volume and increases blood pressure. That combination chokes circulation where it matters most. And the longer you wait to hydrate, the longer you deny your body the one thing that jumpstarts circulation, hormones, and performance. Testosterone production drops when you're dehydrated. Nitric oxide, the molecule responsible for relaxing blood vessels and creating an erection, can't do its job in a dry system. And yet, most men reach for coffee, check the news, or go straight into their day without giving their body a chance to prepare. Personally, I've seen dramatic turnarounds in patients who committed to just 1 full glass of room temperature water first thing in the morning. Not cold, not after breakfast. First thing. It primes your system, jumpstarts your hormones, and gets your blood flowing again. It's the simplest, cheapest, and most overlooked natural method to support strong, lasting erections. So if you're waking up feeling flat, start by reaching for water before anything else. Give your body the signal that it's time to perform, not survive. And speaking of performance, the next habit might surprise you even more, because it's something almost every man thinks gives him energy, but could be secretly stealing his strength each morning. Let's take a closer look. Habit number 2, caffeine on an empty stomach. The silent stressor that shrinks erections. This one hits close to home because, for years, I started every morning the same way. Before anything else, I'd pour a hot cup of coffee and take that first sip like it was medicine. And like many of my older patients, I assumed it was harmless. It made me feel more awake, more alert. But what I didn't realize then, and what so many men over 60 still don't know, is that drinking coffee on an empty stomach isn't giving you energy. It's putting your body under stress. Caffeine triggers your adrenal glands to release cortisol and adrenaline, your fight-or-flight hormones. And when there's no food in your stomach to buffer that effect, those chemicals flood your system. Your heart rate spikes, your blood vessels constrict, your nervous system tightens. It might feel like a morning boost, but beneath the surface, it's chaos. And for your erection, that stress response is a disaster, because what your body needs to support strong, lasting performance is relaxation, blood flow, and hormone balance, not stress and tension. I've had patients who told me they were doing everything right, eating well, exercising, even taking supplements, but still struggling in the bedroom. And after one conversation, we discovered they were starting every day with 2 or 3 cups of strong coffee on an empty stomach. Once they shifted the timing, added a light breakfast before the first cup, cut down to 1 moderate serving, the difference in their energy, mood, and intimacy was remarkable. So if your morning ritual begins with coffee before food, you may be signaling your body to shut down where it should be waking up. Try reversing the order. Water first, then a small breakfast. And only after that, enjoy your coffee slowly. You'll feel calmer, more in control, and so will your performance. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. There's another habit, even more surprising, that many men think is harmless. But in truth, it may be quietly increasing pressure in a place most of us never consider. Let's talk about that next. Habit number 3, holding your urine. How a full bladder blocks your bedroom performance. I know this one might sound strange at first. What does holding your urine have to do with erection health? More than most men realize. In fact, I didn't fully understand the connection myself until years ago when one of my patients, an otherwise healthy 67-year-old, shared something that stuck with me. He said, "Doc, I always wait to pee until after breakfast. I figured it could wait." But what we discovered was that this small, seemingly innocent delay was actually creating unnecessary tension and pressure inside his body. Pressure that was quietly damaging his ability to perform. Here's what happens. When you ignore your body's urge to urinate in the morning, your bladder begins to stretch and push against nearby nerves and blood vessels, especially those surrounding the prostate and pelvic floor. This triggers a stress response. Cortisol and adrenaline levels rise. Blood pressure spikes, and the delicate network responsible for sexual function becomes irritated and constricted. Over time, this habit trains your body to stay tense, rather than relax into the state necessary for a healthy erection. It's like starting your engine with the brakes on. Eventually, something's going to wear out. I've worked with many older men who struggle with nighttime urination and weak morning flow, but almost none of them realized that simply honoring the morning urge to empty their bladder first thing, before checking their phone or sipping coffee, could relieve pressure, lower internal stress, and support healthier blood flow down below. When they made this small shift, many noticed improved ease, fewer interruptions during the night, and even stronger performance in the bedroom. So if you've been putting it off, thinking it's no big deal, think again. Your body's signals are never random. They're invitations to restore balance, and the faster you respond, the better your results. Now, if you think that's surprising, wait until you hear what simply sitting too long in the morning might be doing to your performance without you even realizing it. Let's get into that next. Habit number 4, sitting too long after waking. Erection flow dies in the chair. I've lost count of how many men have told me that their mornings start in the same chair, same soft cushion, same cup of coffee, every single day. And while routine brings comfort, not all routines bring vitality. One gentleman, a retired engineer in his 70s, once told me, "Doc, I like to ease into the day. I sit for a bit, read the paper, sip my drink. It's peaceful." But what he didn't realize, and what many men don't, is that those quiet, seated moments were quietly restricting the very blood flow needed to fuel his manhood. You see, when you remain seated for extended periods after waking, especially in soft or low chairs, you're putting pressure on the perineal area, the region between the anus and the base of the penis. This area contains critical blood vessels and nerves that support erections. The longer you sit, the more you compress them. And over time, that pressure can lead to decreased sensitivity, restricted circulation, and a slow decline in performance without any obvious warning signs. I've seen men regain morning vitality simply by making one small change, standing and moving within 10 minutes of waking. It doesn't take much. A few stretches, a short walk around the house, even a minute or two of gentle reverse planks or hip openers. These movements increase pelvic blood flow, engage core muscles, and reawaken the body's natural energy systems. It's not about exercising hard, it's about signaling to your body that it's time to turn on, not shut down. So if your mornings start in a chair and end in frustration, try shifting the script. Get vertical, get moving, and let your body do what it's built to do. And speaking of movement, what if I told you that the way you breathe, or forget to breathe, in the morning could be another silent reason your strength isn't showing up when you need it? Let's talk about that next. Habit number 5. Rushing without breathing, the oxygen deficit you never noticed. I still remember a patient in his late 60s who came to see me, frustrated and confused. He was healthy by most standards, active, eating well, taking his vitamins, but something was off. He said, "Doc, it's like my body's working against me in the mornings. My mind's racing, my chest feels tight, and I've lost that morning spark I used to have." As we talked, I asked him a simple question. "When was the last time you took a deep breath after waking up?" He paused, then admitted, "I don't think I ever have." That's the problem. Most men wake up and go straight into go mode, checking emails, worrying about the day, hurrying through routines. And all the while, they forget to breathe. I don't mean the shallow, unconscious breaths that keep us alive. I mean intentional, full breaths that oxygenate your brain, relax your nervous system, and prime your body for performance. When you don't give yourself oxygen first thing in the morning, you're starving your body at a cellular level. And your erection, relying on relaxed blood vessels and steady circulation, is one of the first systems to suffer. I've seen firsthand how just 5 minutes of conscious breathing in the morning can change a man's entire day. Inhale slowly through your nose, hold for a moment, then exhale fully. Repeat. With each breath, your body shifts out of fight or flight and into rest and repair, the state where testosterone rises and blood vessels open. It's not a meditation gimmick, it's a biological switch, and you control it. So before you race into the demands of the day, pause. Breathe. Give your body the oxygen and calm it needs to restore strength where it counts. And now that we've covered how breath affects your biology, let me ask you something even deeper. What kind of conversation are you having with yourself every morning? Because the answer might be doing more damage than you think. Habit number 6. Negative self-talk. Your brain is eavesdropping on your doubts. One of the most overlooked causes of poor erection health has nothing to do with your body, and everything to do with your thoughts. I remember a man named George, 74 years old, who sat across from me during a routine checkup. He lowered his voice and said, "Doc, I think those days are behind me. My wife says it's okay, but I know she misses that part of us. I just don't think I've got it in me anymore." That kind of quiet defeat doesn't just break my heart, it breaks your body too. Because here's what most men don't realize. Your brain is listening to every word you tell yourself. When you wake up and think, "I'm too old, it's not going to happen," or "why even try?" You're not just making statements, you're giving instructions. Your body hears those words as commands, and it starts turning systems off. Testosterone drops, dopamine fades, your nervous system tightens. And that natural chain reaction your body once relied on to support intimacy slowly begins to stall. But the opposite is also true. When you shift your thoughts, when you look in the mirror and say, "My body still works, I'm alive, I can improve," you're sending a signal. A message that wakes up your biology and tells your hormones, your vessels, and your energy systems that they're still needed. It's not false hope, it's chemistry. The mind and body are in constant communication, and if you're only feeding yourself doubt, don't be surprised when your body responds with silence. I've seen men change their lives simply by changing their inner dialogue. So tomorrow morning, speak like someone who believes in his future, not someone who's surrendered to the past. And speaking of belief, there's one last habit I want to share with you. It's something most men stop doing with age, and they don't even realize they're signaling their body to shut down for good. Let's talk about that next. Habit number 7, skipping touch or stimulation. Use it or lose it. This might be the most personal habit of them all, and yet it's one of the most common among older men. I've had countless conversations with men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond who quietly confess that they've gone weeks, even months, without any form of physical touch. Not with a partner, not even with themselves. One man in his late 60s once told me, "I just figured those days were behind me. I didn't want to push it or feel disappointed again." But what he didn't realize, and what many men don't, is that the body works on a principle. If you don't use it, you lose it. Erections aren't just about arousal, they're about blood flow, nerve activity, hormonal signals, and most importantly, practice. Your body is a system of communication, and when there's no stimulation, no gentle touch, no connection, no reminder that intimacy still matters, your system begins to shut down. Blood vessels shrink, nerve endings become less responsive, testosterone production slows, and over time, what once came naturally begins to feel impossible. But it doesn't have to be that way. I've worked with men who rediscovered vitality by simply reintroducing respectful, relaxed stimulation into their weekly routine, not rushed, not goal-oriented, just mindful connection with their own body. They started feeling more confident, more in tune with their desires, and more alive. It's not about chasing performance. It's about telling your body, hey, we're still in this together. So if you've been avoiding touch out of fear, guilt, or disappointment, I want to encourage you to rethink that. Your body hasn't given up on you. It's just waiting for a signal to reawaken. And now that you know all 7 of these hidden habits, let's bring it all together, because understanding the problem is only the beginning. The real power comes from knowing what to expect once you start making changes. Let's talk about that in the final part. Conclusion. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you, not just for watching, but for caring enough about your health, your body, and your future to listen. What we've talked about today isn't theory. These are real habits I've seen every day in my practice. Habits that quietly chip away at a man's confidence, his strength, and his connection to himself and his partner. But the good news is, none of these patterns are permanent. Let's recap for a moment. Skipping water in the morning leaves your blood thick and your circulation sluggish. Coffee on an empty stomach jolts your nervous system and restricts the very blood flow you need. Holding in your urine sends pressure signals that work against your ability to relax. Sitting too long right after waking compresses the very nerves and vessels you depend on for performance. Rushing through the morning without deep breathing keeps your body in a stress state that blocks intimacy. Negative self-talk teaches your body to give up before it even tries. And avoiding touch tells your system that this part of life no longer matters, when in fact, it still does. I've worked with men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s who turned things around, not with medication, not with surgery, but by treating their mornings like the sacred time they are. A time to set the tone, protect their energy, and signal to their body that they are still strong, still capable, and still alive in every way that matters. So here's my challenge to you. Tomorrow morning, choose one habit to change. Just one. You don't need to do it all at once. Start slow, stay consistent, and give your body a reason to believe in itself again. Because aging doesn't mean disappearing. It means becoming wiser and more intentional about how we live. Your best days are not behind you. They're waiting for you, just on the other side of your next morning.